Good morning, TSR. This is Shadowboxing, which is a community TSR podcast. Um, my name is Joel. You might better know me as Jdog4, Jdog, JD0G4, whatever you want to call me. You'll have seen me in the Discord as well as that's my PlayStation Network sign on. But my name is Joel, and I am joined by my constant co-host and very good friend, Scott. You want to introduce yourself, Scott?
Yeah, I'm Scott. I'm Filthy Hand 74, as you guys better know me as. And welcome to Shadowboxing. Shadowboxing attempt number 3.
Yeah,
Attempt
this
number
is
3, because we
this is
are fucking derp.
no, I mean it's
No, the first one's just like an unfortunate flip of the fucking thing. And
yep.
then we decided we were going to get all fancy with it. We were going to do this whole video format with the live cams and the fucking graphic bullshits. And I forgot to add one thing into the OBS, and that's how we ended up with that second one being fucked because we didn't get my guy's fucking audio.
Yeah. You forgot to include me.
Yeah, it was
No big
basically
deal.
it was a whole like hour and 40 minutes of just
It
us
was.
of me talking and you just like me being like, yeah, but if he gets it turned around, it's fucking stupid. Pissed me off. I was up
Well,
till
that's
like
good.
fucking
I
3 o'clock
get
in the
to
morning recording that shit.
it's true, and we won't do that tonight. We're starting like at least an hour and a half sooner than we have before, right?
Oh yeah, by far we're good.
So this will be good.
Yeah,
We're not the advantage of this version of the first episode, the pilot episode, the third version, is that we're not gonna burn out so hard at the end because we're starting it earlier.
true,
But
true, 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 true.
all of that to say, this is Shadowboxing. The goal of the podcast is to basically weekly, like this will be it'll be like the reason that I am not able to finish the sentence I'm starting is because it will be weekly, but it's also normally going to be way sooner in the week than what we're releasing this podcast at. So this is actually
At
shit.
the
This
time
will
of recording, it's
release on
technically Monday.
Monday.
We were talking about recording Tuesday night, so it's really
Yeah.
not that off, dude.
So
Be like a
this will
day
be
early.
what I will say is we're not going to do one on Tuesday because we just did this one. So
Mm.
traditionally it'll come out on Tuesdays, and it was going to come out last
It
Tuesday,
would come out
but
on Wednesday. We'd record on Tuesday.
well, right, yeah. So it'll come out. We'll record Tuesday. It'll come out Wednesday. All that to say, we're gonna release it weekly. It'll normally be on Tuesdays. It might switch depending on like mostly my work schedule because Scott's is pretty set in stone. But it'll vary, a little bit here and there. But it'll usually come out, or we'll record Tuesdays. It'll come out Wednesdays, and then that can be what you can expect in terms of when we're gonna schedule it. In terms of what we're gonna do, we typically just go through the different divisions in the NFL. We usually start with the AFC North because that's just where it starts if you go to NFL standings and click down one. And then we'll go based off of that. We'll talk about the users, the teams, the records. Occasionally, if we see an interesting stat, we'll go into like a schedule or an individual player stat or something like that, just within the context of that particular topic. But we'll just go through the different divisions. We will talk about the divisions where they stand, and then at the end of our discussion of a division, especially later in the season, we're going to pick who we think is the front runner or just who we think is going to win that division. Um, it's always fun to talk about it, especially because I think we hold ourselves to just picking who we think we're gonna win in like the first episode of each season. So it's really fun to like look back and say, oh, we thought this guy was gonna win because of X reason, and then 17 in-game weeks later, the division just looks completely different, and we're like, well, that didn't go the way we thought it was gonna go.
That did not happen at all.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. But that's say that's we'll go through the divisions. We'll rank them that way, and then depending on where we're at, we will usually talk about some stats, player stats. We'll go over like player awards, like where players are like rated in that in this
Mm-hmm.
episode because they're out. If we're recording an episode in the beginning of the season, we won't obviously talk about player awards because there's nothing to talk about there.
And
But
then
we'll probably
obviously
look at
what we talk about changes once we have playoffs and Super Bowl
right,
and off season and all that kind of stuff.
right. And this is definitely a podcast that we are starting it now, but we plan to continue it like through Madden 23, whatever TSR looks like in that. This is kind of like, you know, getting the ball rolling. This is a pilot, it's a teaser, it's whatever you want to call it, but it's to get some interest going because we understand there's basically just a half a season left in TSR as it stands right now. But we're establishing this now so that we can roll it into Madden 23 and trying to build I don't want to say fan base, but listenership going into that. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of the podcast and start talking about the AFC North, do you have anything else, Scott?
No, man, I'm ready to fucking dive on into it, I guess. Let's get it rolling.
Heard. I'll give everyone a warning. I mumble horribly. Scott understands it because I've been mumbling to his ass for so long that he just picks it up. So the one thing we didn't say is we love feedback 100%. Feedback is always a good thing, even if it's like, yo, Joel, you talk too fast and you mumble to all hell. I want to hear that. But seriously, when I say that feedback means the world to us, it really does. Both because we do this for fun. I have a great time doing this. It's like having a conversation with a friend talking about Madden. But we're making the podcast because we want other people to enjoy it as well. So if you have any feedback for us,
Well,
doesn't matter.
Them sweet content scores.
I'm supposed to talk about that on air. So
Whoops, I hit my mute button.
Yikes. That's a hot mic. Seriously, though, if you guys, whatever you want to see more of, whatever you want to see less of, we want to hear about it. We are going to involve guests. The pilot episode, we kind of just wanted to, like, I don't even know. This is the third time I've done this. So, like, the pilot episode, we wanted to do what we tried to do the first two times. But honestly, it's to set the framework so that people have an understanding of the way that it's going to work. We would love to invite guests on from the community almost exclusively. Occasionally we'll have somebody that isn't part of the community come in. Those can be fun podcasts. But we want to involve the community generally. So we'll usually invite like a guest coach to come on. In that week, we'll probably highlight their team or their division just because they're on and we can get their insight onto it, things that we don't see. Because the one thing is, Scott watches way more games than I do, but we don't see every game. So there's a chance that we're going to talk about a stat or your team or something, and we're not seeing what like you're actually putting on the field, which is another reason we want the feedback. If I'm talking about, the Rams, which is my team in primer, but not my team here. If I'm talking about the Rams, right? And I say, like, oh, yeah, they need to improve X or Y, just looking at stats. And you're the Rams user, and you're like, dude, fuck that guy. I've been actually doing that. But there's this reason that he's not seeing because he doesn't watch the games. Tell that to us, right? Because we can only see so much, but we're just talking about what the numbers look like. But tell us if you think there's a different side of the story. Feedback is always welcome. It's encouraged. We wanna hear from you guys. Because the other thing, too, is hearing from you guys means that you're actually hearing what we're saying and care about the content. So, without further ado, let's talk about the AFC North. Scott, I've done a lot of talking. Why don't you lead this one off?
Yeah, let me get back over there. I was looking at something because, stuff to talk about and bring up when we get to certain divisions. So let me get back over there, and I'm just clicking buttons like a derp. There we go. All right, so the AFC North. All right, here we go again. It's led off by Mad Bomber. He's 8-1 as it stands right now. I mean, like what? We're in week 10, right? I believe.
I'll check.
Yeah, go ahead.
Week 10 or week 9?
We're in week 10. Yeah, so we're in week 10, man. So we've got like I know advances tomorrow, so about 7 games left in the season for most. I mean, it's really his division right now, to be honest with you, dude. It's at 8-1. I think it was Darth Dad, right? That was the one who beat him?
Yep.
That was the one who got him? Yeah, so he's got a loss to Darth Dad. Outside of that, the Browns are sitting back at 4-5. The Steelers are at 4-6. The Bengals are at 4-5. He's going to be at 4-6. I'm getting a force in that one because he just blew off our time tonight, which, I mean, hey, do your thing, man. He had his reasons, and me and you will joke about that later. So... But yeah, no, this is right now. It's just Bombers division, man. I mean, 284 for 163 against. This is the thing we've talked about because, like, when we talked about this previously, it was the Ravens and the Browns, right? That's who we were really looking at this division. No offense to the Steelers. No offense to the Bengals and Pomp and Sky, but I mean, the Steelers have given up almost 300 fucking points. Like, he's only scoring 201, which, I mean, he isn't far behind the Browns in, like, points scored. But then the Bengals are back 258, 192, giving out forces. Like, so that's... I'd stick a fork in the Bengals. They're done. The Steelers might be able to, like, battle back, but once again, man, he's given up almost 300 points. I fucking highly doubt it.
It's wild that he's only half a game back of the Browns, considering the splits on, like...
And just how different they are, yeah.
Well, and he's given up almost twice as many points as the Browns, and he's only half a game back. And he hasn't scored more points than the Browns. It's much closer in points for, but it's not even close at all. There's a canyon between them in points against.
It's like a fucking. So it's 130 points exactly.
Right. So it's insane to me that he's only a half a game back.
Right.
But as we'll talk about when we get to me in my division, those numbers can be a little deceiving at times.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what happened.
Yeah, and like I said,
the
seven,
Steelers knows why. He knows why it happened.
With 7 weeks left, I don't see much changing in this division. I mean, we said it once, and it didn't save. Yeah. We said it twice, and we just couldn't hear you. And I'll say it again. This is going to be Bombers division this year, and I mean, he's definitely one of my favorites to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's impossible for me to disagree with that.
It's hard to bet against the last year's Super Bowl champion, especially when he's sitting at 8-1.
When the defending champion has a comfortable lead in their division at week 10, what can you say or do, right?
It's Browns are 4 games back at this point. I know he just beat the Browns too. They had a really close game, but he ended up getting it 14-13. So,
oh, that sounds like that's his division then. Close game. People should watch the tape on. I don't know, but either way, it certainly seems as though the AFC North is locked up, and it's probably the real question at this point to me. Is will there be a wild card team that comes out of this division? Because I don't think anyone's going to catch Bomber, and I don't think, frankly, they're going to send a wild card team because I just quickly scrolled through the East and the South, and I don't see those are 2 better teams than their second best team.
I know I can take a really quick look and just see what the standings are at just by looking at Neon.
Oh yeah. No, but so I think Bomber takes the division, and frankly, I don't think that they send a wild card team.
No, right now, Cleveland and Pittsburgh are in the hunt at the 8 and 10 seed respectively, but no, right now they don't have a second team that's in the playoffs in the AFC North.
Right.
It's Bombers division. That's not going to change.
It's Bombers division, and everyone else is living in it, whether they want to be or not.
Right. So, but yeah, I think we could probably move on to the South, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
So, AFC South. See, this is a division that I'm a little bit more interested in because the records are, better at the top. It's like there's 2 top teams, and then there's 2 teams that just really aren't doing much of anything. Faz and the Jags rolling right along, man. 8-0. 8 wins. Nobody's stopped him yet. Yep, hasn't lost. 258 points for, 171 against. I mean, that's the best in that division by far. I mean, that's crazy. The next
Colts have scored as many points.
Mm-hmm. But he's given up 100 more fucking points.
Right. Which that's crazy in and of itself. My man is 6-3, and he's given up like 12, 13 more points than he's scored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's just I think, but if you look at his schedule, he's winning close games.
Yeah, and then
there was that
loses,
one.
He's getting blown out, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I know there was one too. Like he beat you initially, and the score didn't save. So like then that ended up
Oh,
being a
yeah.
force, and I think the score was closer. So like
Right.
there's some alterations right there, man, for
Respect
how
where it's
Hive's
due.
actually playing.
Hive smoked the fucking shit out of me, and the score didn't save.
Mm-hmm.
So those, yeah, those points for and against that's not right.
And
Either
then
way, he's 6-3. You don't get to 6-3 by being bad. All there is to it.
and then I mean like behind him the Titans 3-6. Tiny's on a 3-game skid, and I mean you added to that last night.
I did. It was it was a close game early, and then it just got away from him, and I was able to capitalize on some things. I mean, I didn't play a clean game either. I just pulled away in the second half basically. So, but yeah, that's I didn't realize that put him on a 3-game skid. With it, he's better than one game above the 2-6 Texans, which no offense to the Texans, but like I don't see Tiny, and also yeah, I don't see Tiny being a 3-6 user.
No,
I
I
don't know
think
where he'll
that's a
go in
weird.
that division from here, but I don't see him being 3-6.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's not even projected. Obviously, not projected to make the playoffs. There would be two teams coming out of the South as of right now. Jacksonville holds the 1 seed, and Indy holds the 5 seed.
Yeah,
So they would be sending two teams currently into the playoffs, which obviously is the top two teams in the division. Which I just I think Hive's going to be in the playoffs. There's no fucking way he's not. He's one of those guys that's in like one of those tiers where like he's going to consistently make the playoffs.
right.
And then yeah, it's still Faz's division
Don't bring
though,
up
right?
tears.
Yeah.
Don't bring up
Oh
tears in this podcast.
god. uh, still salty.
No, no, no. Just continue.
Okay, it's fine. I mean, I'm happy with mine. I'll take tier 2, whatever. Fuck it. I'm
I
probably a
believe
high
it.
tier 2, if
I'm
anything.
sure that you are. Actually, I know you're not, but it's fine.
Okay. Um. So.
Not to your. There's two ways to take that. I don't think you're happy with it. That's what I meant to say by that.
We'll see. We'll see. We got a full cycle of me next year.
We
So.
will see. We will see.
I think at the end of the day, though, we can both like come to the consensus here, right? Like, I'm not changing my pick for this division. It's Faz. It's been Faz.
Right.
Dude's undefeated. How are you gonna pick against the guy that's undefeated? 7 weeks left. I mean, crazier shit happens. Maybe somehow he goes on some kind of weird fucking skid. Maybe like I don't want to jinx you. T-Log gets hurt. Like something fucking happens. But
Right.
I think in all honesty, it's his division.
We the last time we did this, he had already played the Colts, I think, and he won, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were gonna play shortly. Is that still next week? It is. So Fast is on the bye this week. No. They're scheduled to play.
Ooh, when's that game going down?
It's this week. Yeah, that's shit.
Go gadget game times.
Colts Jags.
8:30 p.m.
Eastern
EST
today,
tomorrow.
which will be 7:30 our time. But
Yeah.
and that was yesterday. Said tomorrow, so that'll be today. So I think the last time that we covered this, we looked at the schedule and we both said, well, Hive's a good user. Like, what's their odds? And I went and checked the schedule, and I was like, well, have they played each other? Maybe they haven't. Maybe they still have 2 games. And Faz very confidently smoked the shit out of Hive. It was a 45-13 win.
Okay.
I'm just calling it like I see it. That's a blowout. That does not mean that the result will or has to be the same this time around. But if we're talking, yeah, crazier shit
If
has
we're being
happened.
real about
But
the
if we're
situations and being fucking realists here, if you get blown out by
Right.
a guy one time, I'm not. It doesn't breed the best confidence that you're going to come out and get him in the next time if he
Right.
like blows
Right.
you out that bad the first time.
Right.
And I could be wrong. Like I don't know a lot of like I've been in this league for 1 year, so I've been with most of these dudes since TSR started, and then that's when I joined Primer too. So that's like my extent of knowledge. So I'm still learning some of them, man, and some of these guys, but
Right. But like you don't look at an 8-0 team versus a 6-3 team, and the 8-0 team has beaten the 6-3 team handily, and
Mm.
assume that that 6-3 team is going to overtake the 8-0 team to win the division.
No, not on a base assumption. Fuck no.
Like take the nameplates off of it. You're just
Yeah,
looking at what you see, right?
exactly. Yeah, with the nameplates off and you're just looking at the teams and what's happened, yeah, it's hard to pick the opposite way.
Yeah. So I think we're both in agreement. We both think the Colts are going to the playoffs. We both
Mm.
think the Jaguars are winning the division.
He's gonna be the. I think he's gonna be the one seed, like 100%. I
Yeah,
know it's like a one game thing right now, but
it is.
I think
And
he'll be
that's
the
so
one seed.
dicey because, all right, so let's go to the rabbit hole, I guess. Do you think he goes undefeated?
What's he got left?
Fuck it, we're here. Let's talk about it. Let's both look at that schedule. Because here's the thing: if you're talking about him being the one seed with just a game separating him and the people behind him, the only way to know that he'll be the one seed is if he goes undefeated, right? Like, it's so you'd think if he's gonna lose again, maybe somebody else loses again. That might be true. That might happen. But if you're going into this and you know you're going to be the one seed, you have to win out. You have to
So
if you want to know from here.
he's got Hive. He's playing that game tomorrow. I think we
Hmm.
both said we think he's gonna win that one, right?
Fair.
Then he's got to go to KC against Fink. KC's a hard team to beat, but
On the road.
I think that's a toss-up one. Although it's a different KC team, though. That team doesn't have Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Like, so, I mean, they have
Still
McCole
have Patrick
Hardman.
Mahomes.
Yeah, they still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have McCole Hardman. Like, so, I will say that one's a toss-up one.
And also, Hardman is, at least the last time we did this, he was in some of the Player of the Year stats,
I think he
like
was,
for
yeah.
receiver and stuff. So
So, he's going to beat the Cowboys. No offense to Coach Seals. You got an amazing fucking Twitter account, dude. Your shit's great, but he's going to beat the Cowboys. Tiny, we got a lot of love for you, man. A lot of respect for you. We're in the same division in Primer. I don't think you're gonna win that game. I mean, he already did. That was already played once. Yeah, 31-17. I'll give it to the Jags again.
do it.
Yeah,
Do it. You know what you have to do.
I love you, buddy. I think
do
he'll
me a
beat
favor
you.
and look me in the eyes when you say it.
I think he'll beat you. I think he will.
Yeah.
That or maybe you
probably.
go out, may prove me wrong, man. Go out and shock the fucking world.
I'm gonna try
Or the
to.
TSR world, at least. The TSR
You know what the
verse.
thing is though? I'm not gonna try too hard to, because that's my problem.
So,
But yeah, no, he probably beats me. He's got a good game against Buster, who's looking strong right now.
yeah, Game
We'll get
Buster
to
is-
that.
We'll get to that because he won a game again recently, man. That
Holy
I wanna
ball
talk
sack.
about.
Dude, he's got 2 brutal games in a row.
Mm.
Because he goes from Buster to Bomber.
The bomber,
Which is-
exactly.
And Bomber, oh my god. Let's assume they both went out, right? Let's just assume. I don't even looked at Bomber's schedule. Don't even care.
That week 16 game.
Week 16 would
they
be
just keep
literally,
winning,
if they went out, that's for the number one seed.
that's for the
because
number one
head to head.
seed. Yep, 100%. And that would give one of them a tiebreaker.
That has got to be like that's. I mean, it's hard to circle a calendar that far in advance, but
Week 16, dude.
it's what we're
gonna
all
be
waiting
a
for
game.
now, right?
That's
All
like
right,
having 1 and 2 like face up in
Yeah.
an NCAA season
yeah.
before the
Right,
national
right,
title.
right. Except that if you were 2 and you lost, you might not get fucked out of the playoff because.
Quick
you're
side
stupid.
off the thing. Remember the fucking we were both in the SEC with Florida and Bama. Used to be
I
at
do.
number 1 2. We'd play the SEC tie. I used to joke I got to play in 2 national title games a year.
Literally. And it sucked because you did. Because in the current version of the NCAA, like the loser would still be in the playoff.
True. Okay, so we could probably move on right to the AFC East.
To the East.
I said it when we first recorded this, which was like 3 in-game weeks ago, right?
I don't remember that. I'm going to disavow any claims
Yup.
that I made. Even though I stood by them with honor the second time we recorded this.
The Dolphins were sitting on top at that point, right? And everybody was kind of middling around in the middle. And I'm like, That Bills guy's better than that record. That Bills guy's better than that record. That Bills guy's better than that record. Sitting at 4-3. He's reeled off 3 wins in a row. Now he's sitting at 7-3 on top of the division. The Dolphins have lost 1 since then. I know D Muse was your pick. He's dropped 2 now.
I know.
The Patriots.
I don't want to, like I said, I'm not. I disavow any other prediction I've made because they would have no idea. They haven't seen the first 2 episodes.
The Patriots.
They wouldn't know that D-Muse was my pocket pick and then lost 2 games in a row. Fuck you, D-Muse.
Yeah, the Patriots offense can't ride a red tricycle, so they're not even, like, to me, involved in the conversation for that division. And, like, I think D-Muse has fallen out of it now with 2 losses. Once again, I don't think that's indicative of the user. I've played that dude before, like, before this Madden, like, you know, going back. And I think a lot of that's that Jets roster sometimes. But he has given up, like, 312 points, which is fucking insane.
You know what's funny, though? It's weird. I sorted by points for in NFL standings just because, like, the Bills says, 373.
Yeah.
I knew he was in first. I wanted to see by how much. It's fucking by 20 points. He's got 20 points more scored than the Broncos, who we'll talk about. But he does have a much better split because he only has 199 given up. And so the Broncos has scored like an ungodly amount of points with 353, but he's given up 265. So the Bills have scored 373, but they've only given up 199. Obviously, that's a much better gap. But what's interesting to me, if you just sort by points for the 5th or 6th, I don't know, counting is hard. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth in points for is D-Muse with the Jets in the league at 284. The problem is he's second in points given up at 312. So he's scoring a ton of points, but his defense just can't stop anybody.
Yeah. They're
and
giving up.
You know what? I wonder how many games he's played against this Bills user who is just scoring a fuck ton of points. Because I can tell you from personal experience, playing somebody that's good at offense will completely annihilate your points against numbers.
Oh, 100%. But, like, I don't know, man. I called it. I called it when we filmed this the first time, and I wish that audio saved. So, like, we'd be recording this, on our second attempt. This would be, like, our week 2 recording now at this point.
It would
and
be.
I could be doing my, haha, I told you so fucking dance, up until this point. So
you can still dance. We're recording video this time.
True.
If they saw you dance, I'm sure that would be a good thing.
It's my terrible dance. I don't fucking dance. Look at me. Do I look like I fucking dance? So, it's the Bills division. I think he's gonna win it. I mean, the Dolphins are there, but I just think he'll outscore them. He's gonna outscore everybody.
You think he challenges for the AFC Championship game?
Yeah. Yeah. My 3 picks in the AFC for the AFC Championship game, and this is no disrespect to anybody else that's going to make the playoffs from out of there. It's going to be Bomber.
That felt like a corporate line. Like, you didn't care at all about, like, you're like, this is no disrespect to anybody else that's out there.
Okay, so to the rest of the AFC, it's going to be Clink, it's going to be Bomber, it's going to be Faz, it's going to be one of those 3 out of that conference that are in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, like, you can't deny that. Like, you look at the body of work that those 3 users have put up over the season and a half that we've played.
Yeah.
They're playing now.
Like, you're not wrong. And since, again, I think they were 5. I think the Bills were 5-3 when we first recorded this, like, the pilot. Because they're on a 3-win streak. I know they haven't lost since we started, but I think they were 5-3. Now they're 7-3. It's obvious and it's clear who the front runner in this division is, and crucially, the Dolphins lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly huge. As you look at the division the way that it is now, it's just a 2-game. Well, yeah, it's a 2-game lead. Somebody hasn't played a game or whatever. They shouldn't have. So one of them, I think, probably the Dolphins has to play yet this week, and also has a bye coming. Is the only way that I can make sense of a 7-3 record being better than a 5-3 record. But either way, on a loss streak with CMC with the Dolphins, like, he's lost 1. The Bills are at 7-3. They've won 3 in a row. They are winning in insanely fashionable style, like very flashy
Mm-hmm.
on the offensive side of things.
Points, points,
As
points, 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 man. Like that offense, what he's doing right there is like the real life NFL's wet dream.
yeah. Well, and it's also the reason that Josh Allen was a front runner for MVP the last time we recorded this. We'll see where he is now, but Josh Allen, spoiler alert, is putting up good numbers.
For fucking
All
real.
right, pick to win the division,
Bills. Easy.
Bills.
Yeah, 100%.
D-Muse, man, it's okay. You lost a couple. You were my pocket pick to win this division the first time I recorded this podcast. And then the second time we recorded it, my boy Scott gave me an out, and I said, "No, I'm a man of conviction. I stand by D-Muse." And this time
And now
around,
you lost 2 games and his convictions right out the window. It's
but
okay. It's okay.
it's not over. I'll say this: D-Muse can at this point. I don't know that he's going to catch the Bills for the division. I still think he can sneak his way into the playoffs, though.
Let me take a look because I've had Neon pulled up on my phone, just kind of checking and seeing like.
Brother,
where
you
the...
have 2 monitors.
Yeah, but
You
I
could have it
also
on.
I'm monitoring audio, so I don't know. I'm fucking leave me alone. Let me
Oh,
live my
no, no.
goddamn life. Just over here trying to record a podcast, and you're fucking yeah. Yeah,
Fucking
he's
what?
sitting at the 9 seed. He's sitting at the 9 seed right now. Out of the AFC East, the teams that would be in, Buffalo would actually be sitting at the 4 seed at 7-3, and then Miami would be sitting at the 6 seed as it stands right now.
Buffalo's the 4 seed. That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And I
because
get it.
the 3 losses. I mean, the top 3 guys in the AFC are 8-0, 8-1, 8-2.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy.
all right, but on to the AFC West. They're starting to pull away from each other, man. This is starting to become a little bit. We can tell a little bit more about how I think this is going to end out than we could before. Because, like, when we talked
Yeah.
about this division previously, it was muddled.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
The one thing that has stayed consistent, though, is that Gamebuster, the Bronco, he's been on top of this division so far this season.
I'm an asshole. That's not where I thought you were taking that. I thought.
Well, the other part
You're
that's
gonna
crazy to me is that Q Pierce is at 3-6, and like I know everybody says that like, oh, he doesn't care until the playoffs, and I know Q doesn't give a shit until the playoffs, but
But you
you gotta
gotta
fucking make the playoffs to give a shit about them.
I thought when you said the one thing that's been consistent was Game Buster, I thought you said the one thing that's been consistent is that Q Pierce is losing. Because it's frankly that's what's been happening. And it's no disrespect. It's just it's a 3-loss streak. And when we recorded the first episode was a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "There's no way Q Pierce is better than this." And
I think he's
that-
checked out. It's ended the cycle, bro. I really
yeah,
do. And I know he's in SML, and they got all that stuff going on up there in the big leagues for that. So I know you got to put in a lot of work to stay active and be in that league, from my understanding.
right. Well, and also, you start slow, and there's a guy that's 8-2 in your division.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's no disrespect to Gamebuster. I mean, look, he's on a 5-game win streak.
Oh, yeah, no,
he's been on a fucking tear.
One might even say that he's game busting.
Jesus fucking Christ.
No, he's like Gudo just won this week or last week. I don't know. One of the weeks I saw that he beat Q Pierce, so that's why he's on that one streak.
Now, isn't Russell Wilson suspended too? Oh my fucking God. No way.
What?
Okay. Did you watch any of the Trash Talk show?
No.
No. Okay, because that's where the tier rankings and all that stuff, right? So
Right.
I
know that I was mentioned.
Yeah,
Fine.
I was at work. I didn't have time to call in or participate, unfortunately, but I did go back and I did listen to all of it. And I heard where, Freight Train Shane, Mr. Trash Talker, was going through his schedule, right? And said, like, how he thought everything was going to play out. And I'm pretty sure he said that, you know, he was going to beat Game Buster in this game. Like, I'm positive he said he was going to beat Game Buster. And a big part of that was because Russell Wilson is suspended. Right? So he's out. Bro.
Makes sense.
So he's going to have to start Jacob Eason, right?
Right.
And Jacob Eason proceeds to throw for 5 fucking touchdowns and 1 interception.
Oh,
while Matt Stafford gets picked off 6 times.
Oh, no.
Woof. Big fucking yikes. Big yikes. I mean, Cam Akers had a great game, but
fucking shit.
You can't tell people to go to the skills trainer and then throw 6 interceptions, right?
Hey, some people get told they should go to the skills trainer and then throw for 4 with no interceptions, and I don't know. It's almost like
way.
skills.
I'm busting on Shane, man. His content's great. I love the show. I do love trash talk. I call in. I'm off on Tuesdays, so I'm gonna be calling into it on Primer every fucking Tuesday, just because that's my kind of thing. But like,
oh, for sure.
He made the prediction, and then I was like, oh, I should go check that. Then to see that Eason went off is just kind of like a... And then to see the 6 picks after, like, dogging everybody at the beginning of the week to go check out the skills trainer, that's...
Turnabout is fair play.
Keck.
Turnabout is fair play.
Okay, let's back to the AFC West. He's on a tear, though, man. He's a 5-game win streak. Like,
yeah.
Doing good. He's got QP next week. We'll see if QP, like, how that goes, if they play.
That's a dub for Buster.
I
mean, sorry.
Do they play twice?
They should.
No. It was he got a force win the first one, 33-27.
I miss the old QP, that's all I'm saying. Alright, predictions for the division.
I mean, hey, you know, the other thing
we haven't even talked about
Gouda, like Gouda either, man.
Well, okay, so yeah,
like,
never
he's
mind.
sitting behind him.
I jumped the shit up out of that gun. Well, I did bring up that Gouda had like one, like he was on a skid, but just one. It was against QPers, so I don't know how much. Like, at least
he's technically only 2 games back.
Right.
He's only 2 games back, and I think they played once, and I'm pretty sure
that.
He's
the
5-4.
Doesn't add up, right? But is he like his opponent's 8-2?
Okay, well, let's go look at the Raiders.
2.5. 2.5 games back. Again, could be that there's a game that needs to be played this week, or there's a bye week involved. But I think it's 2.5.
Yeah, he's got to play the Chiefs this week. Still, as part of that. Okay. But like,
wait, who has to play the Chiefs?
The Raiders. The Raiders and Chiefs play this week.
Dude, Chiefs has won 3 in a row.
But if Gouda can get that one, the one nice up he does have is he has to play the Broncos one more time, I believe. Yeah, in week 13.
We were talking about Fink though.
Yeah, Fink's good too though. So like, if he,
he's got 3 wins. This man took an 0-5 team. He's 3-5
well,
now.
part of the reason he was 0-5 is he had like an IRL back injury, man, and I think he was out of it for a little bit, and I think he's back around to playing again too, because I know he's a good user.
Yeah, no, me too. And so I'm sorry if it came across anyway, but I was like, nah, this team started 0-5, and he's got him to 3-5. That's a huge winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we talk about when we talk about teams that have a slow start. It's like if you turn it around, you can make some noise. And it's literally happening with this Chiefs team. So they play... I'm just saying, imagine a world where Fink wins that game against Gouda. And then they're 4-5 on a 4-game win streak. It's a 5-5 Raiders team that's ahead of them in second place. Maybe you catch Buster, maybe you don't, but you're definitely looking at the possibility of a wild card.
You could get yourself back in the hunt very quickly. Like, because the teams that are in the hunt right now are 5-4, 4-5, shit like that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I think Gouda, as it stands right now, would have the last wild card seed in the AFC. So, like, that...
And he's 5-4, so there's a lot of room there.
Yeah, you're not out of shit by, like, any means.
Right. And to that end, even Q, if he hears this and is like, man, fuck those guys, I do care, and starts to win again, then God help us all. But, like, it's Yeah, 3-6. You're only roughly 2 games back of a wild card spot as it stands right now, right? Like maybe 3 games back, but still. Point being, like he is within range. He's just got to turn it on,
Yeah,
right? It's now or never.
100%. That's it. That's
You
the
don't
only
you don't
thing.
go 3-7 and then make the playoffs. I'll say it right now. If he loses next week, stick a fork in him.
Yeah, it's either turn it around now or it's over.
Right. Every game is a playoff game. And it sucks when you have to tell that to a team in September or October, but that's what happens when you lose early. Right? Then every game has to be a playoff game. All right, so predictions for the AFC generally then. This has gotten closer.
It has gotten closer. And there's a matchup coming up in week 13 between the Broncos and Raiders, and I did look. The Raiders have a win over the Broncos already.
Okay.
If Gouda can continue to do his thing and win games, and Buster drops one or two, or even drops one, and then they meet up, and he
I
plays and
keep on
beats them, they
blowing
have a
past
tied
where you're
record.
at, and that's my bad. Are you trying to make a case for Gouda and the Raiders in the AFC West? Because I was just,
I don't think
I
he's
mean,
done. I don't think it's over. And with Fink coming back and playing and being on a 3-game, he's only 3 games back. A lot can happen. I'm gonna give. I want to say the Raiders so badly. I want to say that Gouda gets it turned around and comes
but
back.
the
And wins
reason
that
that you
division.
can't is because it's so obvious that Buster has this shit locked up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Buster. Yeah, Broncos take the West.
Yeah. Gouda, we're pulling for you from the bottom of our hearts, but we're picking Buster. So the AFC generally then, it's funny because if you just sort by win percentage, Buster's right there. The guy that you're struggling to pick for his own division is the third best team in the AFC, period. And he's half a game back from Bomber, who has to play yet. So I think it's Faz, but it's so hard to make that call because they play each other, right?
Yeah.
That's how you know.
I think we'll know a lot more about that and who to really expect at the AFC.
Their teams are so similar.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're just both so good, obviously. But like Bomber straight up has better numbers on paper.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the loss. And again, like I talked about in the beginning, we don't watch all the games, and we don't track all of like the forces and stuff like that. So something might have happened to skew these numbers, but generally, well, and also part of it is that Faz hasn't played a game that. All right, so Faz probably. Oh no, not probably. He just is on his bye week, I think, or he has one coming up. So he's played one game less than the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, Faz is going to score more points. He'll give up more points as well. It depends on what that spread looks like. If he just mirrors.
Yeah, and the game that he hasn't played
0.4.
yet, remember, is against the Colts. That's tomorrow at 7:30.
Oh, yeah, that's
7:30 our
right.
time, 8:30 Eastern.
So knowing that, I take Bomber over Faz. I would. I think Bomber's got a better defense and equal offense. If not better. I don't know. But like I think if it's that close, I give the edge to Bomber.
I'm gonna roll with Faz right now, and the reason I'm gonna roll with Faz is because I can't pick against an undefeated team.
Right.
Not until they lose.
That's
Not until they
the
lose,
worst
and not
logic
until
ever.
I see that not until I see that week 13 matchup go down.
Yeah.
I
I
hope
will
I'm not at
say,
work when that gets played because I really want to
dude,
just sit down and
I
watch
hope
that.
maybe I can time it up where I can. Well, no, because we post our schedules a month out. There's no way for me to request that day off. Just make sure it's a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Should
I
I
can
fucking
finagle
request
that
a day
shit.
off work just to watch a Madden game?
I probably fucking would for that one, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
If I knew ahead of time, like, just give me the day off, because that's the closest thing to a Super Bowl in the regular season that you can have.
Oh, 100%.
The way that this conference looks. All right, we have to move on.
Yup, yeah, on to the NFC.
I'm like, oh my goodness, I could keep talking about this, but I shouldn't.
All right,
All right,
so yeah, go ahead. I'll let you take it off with the NFC North.
yeah, sure. It's the Bears are currently the de facto leader, 8-1, doing good fucking things with this team.
God, that defense is fucking that
Darkness is
points.
popping off on people.
145 points let up. That's it. That's insane.
Yeah,
Like,
we talked about before. I think I looked into it, and I know he had a straight sim against me where he won 38-0, which is kind of like that's a straight sim score. Okay, so that helps those numbers. He had a couple force wins that were really, really heavily favored for him. So I think I said before, the caveat is that that gap should be a little bit smaller in terms of points for and points against. He should have some less points for on average and more points against. But that doesn't discount or discredit the fact that he is smoking this division. And frankly, gapping basically everybody that's playing. Because in the games that he plays, he can't control sims or like whether they're force wins or just straight sims. He can't control that. But in the games that he's playing that he can control, he is beating his opponents at least by a possession. And I don't think he's like really blown anybody out. He'll call me out if I'm wrong on this, and it may have changed because I'm not checking from the last time. But like, there was one game that was like, oh yeah, that was really solid, and the rest of them were like, yeah, at least by a field goal or more. So he's winning games, and you can't control the things that you can't control. So the fact that the numbers might be a little bit inflated because of simulation games, he can't control that. All he can do is go out and win, and he's done
got to
that
go
in the
out
games
and
that
do what he's got
played.
to do and win. And so far, he has. He's 8-1.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
what's crazy?
Jason.
145 points against, right?
Yeah.
That's only 13 less points than the Patriots have scored all season.
Has he played the Patriots?
I don't believe so. Not
I
that
don't
can
think so, but that'd be
recall.
hilarious if that was like a partial cause.
Right.
Um,
That's just insane to me, though, to think about. Like, wow.
no, like it is. That's a crazy. I'm glad you called that out. That's nuts. You, I not in the scope of this podcast, but honestly, I wonder when the last point in the actual NFL that it's been that close between the lowest points against and the highest points scored. Be something fun to think about. Anyway, so darkness with the Bears, 8-1, leading the division, carrying the day. Jace move, sitting over here at 6-3, on a 1-win streak. That's a good place to be. I would know. And what I wouldn't know is this 244 and 190 against. But we're not going to talk about that. He's handling himself. He's sitting there, and
I think with the Vikings and the state they're in, man, it's a really good defensive team. You've got some great offensive weapons there, but I know like the quarterback is still like the main issue in Minnesota. And as Dalvin goes, the Vikings go, is what I really feel that team is right now. I feel like if you can bottle up Dalvin Cook, you've got as good a chance as anybody to beat Jay Smooth in that game. If Dalvin's going to run all over you, you have a bad time. And that's why he's still, even without having like a really, like even like a mediocre like quarterback situation, you know what I mean? That's how he still has 3 games over 500 and a winning record.
Yeah. Colin Kaepernick is his quarterback. That's wild to me. He's not doing great. But he doesn't have to. That's why
Well,
Smooth is 6-3.
if you play great defense and control the run game,
Right.
you don't have to put up amazing numbers.
If you have an elite defense and Dalvin Cook, I mean that's your game plan. That's your way to win, and you can win games that way. You hit the nail on the head. Like, it's about containing Dalvin Cook. I haven't looked at his 3 losses, but I would assume that in those 3 losses, he probably got shut down in the run game.
I mean, I would have to assume.
Or somebody just, like, was able to score on a really good defense, which either one of those will obviously torpedo his entire game plan because he does not have a quarterback. So, again, this sounds way more negative than it is. He's 6-3. Like, he's winning games.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost certainly, I would assume, at least right now, seeded to make the playoffs as a wild card team.
Oh yeah,
and the
definitely.
real question
I'll
is,
check and see where the seeding's at for sure here, but
at this point, I think the real question is, can he catch Darkness and the Bears?
yeah, he would be the 5th seed right now. Can he
So
catch
the first wild card, right?
Yes. And I think Darkness got him the first time.
But was that a close game? I'll check right now.
Yeah, you go ahead and check.
I know that they did play. Again, it sucks because I've done this so many times. But I don't remember what the exact scores were.
I thought it was like 37-20 something, wasn't it?
It was 37-22.
Yep.
For the Bears. So it wasn't particularly close. But not like a nuts blowout either. And also, there's got to be nuance in that game, right? Like, could have been a garbage time touchdown. It could have been a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that play into that. That's for
play
sure.
it in Week 16, though. Third to last week of the season, so that will be one to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, it'll be another. That's the same week that that Faz and Bomber play too.
Man,
That's gonna be a fucking Week 16 is gonna be a great week in this league competition wise. I think
it's gonna be a fucking shit show. The best kind of shit show. But yeah, I mean, so behind the Vikings Jace move at 6-3, we have Jonesy and the Packers at 4-6. Hasn't been great for the Packers. They are scoring just slightly more than they're giving up, so that's what that is. But they're on they were 4-5. They're now 4-6. They lost last week. So it's tough when you're in this division where the top 2 are just like feasting on the bottom 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's tough when you're in a place where you know the second team in your division is the first wild card seed. Because if you're below that in one division, unless you're doing really well, you know you're not in a good place.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Jonesy is in that spot where they're 4-6. Again, could turn things around. Hopefully will. But it's a tough. It's a big hill to climb.
Well, and I know he stacked a couple of wins together there, and kind of got back into it. But then the loss this week, being on that 1-loss streak, that's a setback.
Yeah.
Once you lose 5 games that early on in a season, any loss after that's a huge setback.
Right. And then the Lions CPU team, there's nothing to talk about there.
Yeah.
So, division winner. It looks like Darkness.
It looks like Darkness. It looks like Darkness. I'm going to say Darkness right now, but I'm very interested to see how the next few weeks play out, especially around the NFC North. And I want to see next Tuesday when we're recording this, if this division isn't just maybe a smidge closer again.
Well, and if it's even a smidge closer, then Week 16 looks even more interesting.
Yeah, it does. I really would just wanted some awesome end of the season matchups that we can break down. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that's going to be super exciting. But
I
for
think
right
we'll have
now,
them.
I'm going to roll with Bears Darkness, number 1 seed in the NFC as it stands tonight,
Yep.
this morning, today.
I agree. As we are right now, it's hard to pick against it. So we'll move on to the NFC South. That's your division. I'll let you talk about it. I'm gonna grab a drink, and yeah, I'll be back. So
Yeah, so NFC South,
take
it
us away.
says I'm 7-1. I have not played my game this week, but I'm getting a force win. So I will be 8-1 after we get our force versus the Bengals, and that sets us up. That's gonna be a fun game about a guy we're gonna talk about in a minute. I'm gonna be playing noobs in a very, very good Seahawks team, man. Only 2 losses so far, I believe, on the season. I might eat my words in a second here. Only 2 losses so far on this season. So that'll be a fun matchup. Offense is playing good. 292 points. We've almost scored 300. That's still crazy that the Bills are like 370 something, but holy shit. The Saints have a new user, and I know he scored a win today, a pretty convincing win too. Kind of, got his welcome to the league out of the way with a nice start. So that's cool. Hopefully that'll provide a little bit of competition. But I mean, I'm looking at it. I've already got a 5-game lead, and I have 1 win over him. We do play in a couple of weeks, but I don't think I'm going to start dropping games left and right enough for him to catch me. But I know he's a good user. Actually, I'm pretty sure we played in the last week of Primer, and I beat him only by 1 point. So could be interesting to see. It's too bad he wasn't here earlier on. I think it would have been a much different. It'd been a big fight for this division. Falcons sitting back at 1-8. I mean, that roster's pretty rough. He started in a big hole. Morale's down for Doc's team. Like, he's gonna have to work his way back into it. There's no working his way back into it. He's 1-8. I don't even know why the fuck I said that. There's absolutely zero way he works his way back into it at 1-8. Noel Panthers. Yeah, I was up 20-0 on him in our first when I did play him, and then he scored a whole bunch of points in the second half. So I think the user's okay there. Once again, I think you got a team where the morale's really down, and just things aren't going their way. Yeah, this division, there's been a lot of CPU teams. There was a lot of turnover in this division at the start of this year. So, to me, it's been pretty much a cakewalk this far. But it's easy for it to be a cakewalk when no one in your division's winning games. And that's not a detriment to, any of the users that are in this division right now are not the people that were the users that were in this division when we started. So, I think it might be a much more interesting race, especially with Bloom and the Saints, and possibly Doc and the Falcons if he would have got a hold of that team. And even Noel, I guess, at that fucking token, if they would have got their teams at the beginning of the season without a bunch of losses already on their resumes.
Yeah. So I heard all of that because the magic of wireless headsets. I agree. It's the hand that the division was dealt, essentially. And I think you've displayed that you're a quality user, and you ran away with a division that just didn't have teams or users that were playing the games. So,
Yeah.
um, it'll it'll be interesting if the Saints could come away with a win against you and then make the division something fun. But I think that's the only way that this division turns into anything other than just you running away with it, right?
Yeah,
It's got to be
100%.
this Saints team has to take it to this Bucks team,
Mm.
and they have to score a win in a couple weeks. And if that doesn't happen, then
It's either
it's
Bloom King's gonna have to start winning now, and I don't think
yeah,
he can afford another loss on the season. I think that
right.
would almost just put
And
him.
he's on a 1-win streak, so he hasn't lost yet.
No,
We'll see.
you're right. He is not technically.
We'll see where that goes, and who knows? Maybe it makes things interesting. It'd be nice. Nice to have some spice in the NFC South, because it's been pretty bland so far.
Yeah, that's been my division to lose.
Well, division winner. I mean, even if you lost against the Saints in a couple weeks, you're still
I would
looking
have to
good.
drop a couple of games
Right.
for this division to actually come down and be
And
an actual race
crazier
again.
things have happened, but like as I'm looking at the division right now, I'd be stupid not to pick the Buccaneers to win it. So
I'm gonna obviously roll with myself. I think I have this division locked down 100%.
yeah. All right, the NFC East, the Nefeast. Nefeast? That works. Yeah. Well,
Whew, this looks a little different than it did when we first recorded this.
just a bit.
It's almost like my guy's having a little bit of a renaissance.
I'm almost afraid to talk about it.
Well, why don't you go ahead? It's your division. You go ahead and lead it off.
It is. It is my division. Why does my camera do what it's doing? I hate this camera so much. Sometimes you gotta remind it of how to focus. And this looks really weird, and it didn't fix anything, so shit. But you'll have that. Will it take it? God damn it. Logitech is great until it's not. But we'll just go ahead. So the NFC East is an interesting division. Um, there's two 6-3 teams that haven't played each other. So it's the Giants and the Eagles. I control the Eagles. If you didn't know, you probably did. But if you didn't, I'm the Eagles user, and I am technically tied with Darth Dad, the Giants user, for first in the division. But we haven't played each other yet, so that's definitely gonna change. Um, and outside of that, like the metrics are fairly close. So he's got 266 points for, 223 against. I've got 242 for, 221 against. Again, I will die on the hill that that straight sim 38 to nothing loss that I took was bullshit. Like, come on, a straight sim 38 to nothing. That's like old school when they first introduced the force win.
Right, where it's
Remember,
just be
like
a
that was it
blowout
was a
every single
problem because it
fucking
was
time.
always a blowout. That's the fucking problem. Here it's like, man, that blows that I took that force loss. Or not, I mean, like the straight sim loss that was 30. This is just like the game was like, hey man, fuck you. And I was like, but why? And they were like, cause fuck you. So, anyways, all of it to say, I I genuinely don't like. I've played worse than what I can play. I've played games that I just know that I did not play up to the kind of potential that I have. So I'm thrilled to have a 6-3 record. I don't. I
No,
haven't
3-game
played
win
Darth.
streak, man. Like,
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, I'm happy about that. I haven't played Darth Dad. I'm going to. I've seen the competition that he's played and beaten, and I'm like, oh shit, because he barely lost to Faz, and then handed Bomber his first loss. So like, that's the guy that is leading my division, and even though we're tied and we haven't played yet, I'm like, he's earned the throne as of right now. Um, but that's a guy that I haven't played yet, so we'll see how we match up stylistically and things like that. And no, I'm on a 3-win streak. I've I feel like I don't feel like I deserve a 6-3 record, but I've gotten it, right? So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna shortchange myself
well,
either.
it's kind of
That
like I
doesn't
told you,
happen by
man. Like the
accident.
last couple of weeks, you've gotten back to basics. You've played way better ball. You know, you haven't turned it over as much, and you're getting wins. You're getting wins. You're getting a turnaround. You're getting back into your game, which has been really cool to see. Because
Yeah.
holy shit, sometimes I would watch you recently and was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah. Like a disappointed fucking father. We've talked
Mm-hmm.
about that. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, so it's that's the story in the division. Frankly, it's baffling that that's the story because again, and we talked about this the last time, Hova has fallen off the face of the fucking earth.
Nah, man. Yeah, he was 4-0 and is now 4-5. Like a 5-game skid. That is
Yeah.
fucking brutal. And it started with with a win that you got before your
Yep.
3-game win streak.
He was
Yeah.
at the top of the division. He was 4-0. I
Mm-hmm.
think at the time I was I don't know, but it was I don't well 1-2 or 1-3 or 2. I don't. I didn't have the record that he had,
Yeah,
and I remember going into that game thinking like, well, I like I should just make it respectable, you know,
yeah,
like just don't
like
get blown out. And then, I mean, the game was bullshit on both sides. I think we agreed to that at the end of it. But like, I won a close game. I beat him. I think it was 30-27. Um, and that started my winning streak, which like I
it
beat
didn't start your
him.
winning streaks. You had a loss in there,
Well, I
but
beat him, and then I had
you
my bye
lost to
week,
Jay. Yeah, you had your bye week.
and then I had the
The
straight
law.
sim massacre loss
Yeah,
to the Bears. And then that I've been winning since, and because I played Hova again right away. It was the Hova was my back-to-back user games played. I had a bye week, and then I had straight sim, and then I had Hova.
mm-hmm.
And so I went into that game, you know, kind of expecting it to be close again, and it just wasn't. Um, but again, that's not me talking shit. It's just I was prepared for like a knockdown, drag-out fight, and it just
It
wasn't
didn't
the
end up
same.
being that.
And
Nah.
frankly, it didn't even feel like I was playing the same guy, you know? So it was a much more convincing win for me, and I haven't lost since. Game against Seals started off a little bit slow, but I got there at the end of it, which was what mattered. Um, and so yeah, you know, I'm sitting on a 3-win streak, and Ova's down there with a 5-loss streak. It's just so like I mean, we said this the last time we recorded this. He's not gonna lose every game, right?
Mm.
He's gonna win one. The question is when, because
Like, when does the streak stop? When does the
if
slide stop?
if he stops sliding and starts winning, then you're looking at the NFC East as a division that could potentially send 3 teams to the playoffs. Potentially, right?
As of now, there's two, and both you and the Giants would be in. He would have the 4 seed. You would have the 6 seed.
And Hova's on the bubble, right? Or
Yeah, he's
close
on
to
the
it at
ball.
least.
He's the last team out right now. He's the 8th seed at 4-5.
So he's the closest to being in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hot take. I think the East sends 3 teams to the playoffs.
Yeah, I
Well,
wouldn't.
and the other thing, like, it's just you look at. So my hot take really, really requires Hova to turn his shit around because he's lost 5 games. But like, and I said this last time, you don't win 4 games in a row but like by accident. And we looked, and it wasn't. I think one of them was a straight sim, but 3 of them were played, right?
Yeah, we're played in one.
So that didn't happen by accident. Like a 5-game skid looks pretty bad, but that's 1 game worse than as good as a 4-game winning streak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like break it down that way. So I don't know. I'm not throwing in the towel for Hova yet. I don't think he's throwing in the towel yet either. I think this division's gonna be fun. I think I haven't played Dark Dad yet, and I might figure out. I might try and add a Y to the end of his name after he smokes my ass. We'll see. Maybe it'll be Dark Daddy for me. I don't even know.
Jesus
But
Christ.
but I'm trying to be humble. I'm trying to stay humble. I'm 6-3. I like where I'm at, and I look forward to playing the Giants. It's pretty crazy that we might be the only division where the leaders are this close and still haven't played each other yet.
Yeah, I believe so. So I mean, my take on this division. You know, I was rolling with Darth Dad when I made this prediction originally, but you won 3 games, you're playing inspired football, you're practicing a little bit more, you're getting a little bit better at reading defenses again. I think you got a shot. I really think you got a shot, and I'm probably going to eat these words, but I think you're going to win this division.
Oh shit! You looked at a schedule. That's the. You looked at a schedule, didn't you?
Mm-mm.
No,
I didn't.
You just believe in me?
Yep, probably shouldn't, but I do, bud.
No, I mean, the first 2 times we recorded this, we both picked Darth Dad to win the division, but again, it's hard for me to say because I haven't played him yet, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's gonna come down to, 100%.
Well, yeah,
That's the
like if
big
you
thing.
play him the first time, dude, and like we record a pod the next day and he smoked you 42-0, my pick's gonna change.
Right,
But
as it
as it
should.
stands now, I think you're on an expired streak. You're playing good football, and I think you could win this division.
Yeah. Well, I love to hear that, and I I'll agree. Like, not even, you know what? No hesitation. Even though I hesitated, so it already doesn't matter that I say no hesitation. But no, yeah, I'll win the division. There's there's only one reason that I won't, which would be the guy that I have to play twice,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that's in my hands, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I don't. There's no like I don't have to rely on somebody else doing something for me to win this division. I just have to beat the guy that I'm tied with twice. He's 6-3. I'm 6-3. We're pretty close in the numbers. I can beat him,
You can
and I
beat him.
will. I'm gonna win the division. Where do I go from there? Who even knows? All right, we'll go to the NFC West,
The NFC West.
and we'll talk about the. I guess we're gonna talk about the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, we can go ahead and talk about the Seahawks. I mean, News is sitting at 7-2. I know he's got a 70 overall quarterback that's somehow just balling out and
Oh,
on
Dan
top of the
Anderson. Oh,
world.
he's
Dude,
not a
yeah,
70.
that
Well,
he's a 70. He's a 70.
no.
73 with morale.
I'm looking it up. Continue.
So, I mean, I'm not trying to go out and make a prediction. No, I am trying to go out and make a prediction. I'm not even going to try to fucking half-ass humble that or like, I'm going to beat him next week. I don't think he's seen a real defense yet. I think he's going to run into us, and I think we're going to beat that team, and then I'll knock him down to 7-3. Which means, oh no, but he's got both those wins over the Niners. Ah, I was really.
Dan Anderson is a 72 overall, by the way.
Is he a 72? Okay, he must
But
have gone up.
dude, here's the thing. He's got 82 deep accuracy, 80 mid, 82 short.
Mm.
Those are not awful, but they're not great. I have no idea how he's able to put up those stats just given the inaccurate throws that he can't even control.
He's probably throwing dumps, man. Like I
He's getting
said,
fucking lucky.
I think he had an easy start. I think he had an easy schedule off rip. I think he's gonna have to play some people here at the end of the season, and those numbers are gonna drop back down. So I know he's capable of
Well,
winning.
he
I
did
know.
throw. He did remember the last time, like he was like 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and then we recorded the second podcast, and it was 22-4, or no, 22-6,
Six,
because
yeah,
he
he threw
went
4
touchdowns to
picks.
4 interceptions.
He threw 4 picks between the first 2 that we recorded.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's very. I'm sure when we bring it up, he will be very clearly winning the Rookie of the Year. Anyway, but he's human.
He's
But
human, but
I do think though, since we recorded this last, he got well, or maybe it was even the case then. But either way, he's got the win, the 2 wins against against the 49ers and double rice, double run, whatever it is. And that's tough, right?
double name, no remember.
Double name, no remember. It's
Yeah, he's got that
I'll
first
allow
one,
it.
18-15. He's got so he holds the tiebreakers. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, he holds them by. Wow, he holds them by 5 points. 5 points
Oh
is the
yeah, that's right.
differential
Because
in
that
their
was the last
2
thing.
fucking
Because he
games.
won the first game by 2 points, or the first game by 3 points, and the second game by 2, right?
Yes.
He won 2 games by a combined 5 points. So they're very close games, but they're still wins.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at these schedules, man. I'm not ready to stick a fork in the Niners yet. Like I know he just got his shit rocked by Clink, 45-7. But he's got to play the Cardinals. That's a game he should win. He's gonna play me. That could be a toss-up game, man. I played him one time. It was on the Madden 23 beta. It was like my first game I ever played. He beat me. I scored a couple touchdowns. You know, it's a game, but he beat me. I think I can get him on 22, and especially with how stacked this Bucks team is, like I should be able to. He's got J Smooth, Noel. He's got Shane. He's got QP Fig. I mean, look, it's not inconceivable to me that if double name I can't remember goes on a fucking run and the Seahawks, I mean, his next two fucking games are easily losable games for him. I'm assuming he's going to get a force or something's going to happen. I don't know what's up with him in Q's game this week. I don't know. I don't control, that kind of shit. So we'll mark that up. I'm just going to say it's going to be a win for the Seahawks, right? But then he's got me, and then he's got Jonesy, and then he's got Bloom with the Saints who scored a big win today. He'll beat the Cardinals, but then he's got Fink. He's got the Chiefs after that. There's some games he could lose there where if the Niners can make a solid run and put it together, he could end up choking that division away even with the tiebreakers.
Okay. That is the hottest possible take you could have right now. But first of all, I love it because I love hot takes. But also, I see it. It's like it's a hot take, but it's not unreasonable. He's got some tough games ahead of him. So, we'll see. Maybe double name don't remember.
Double name don't remember.
Maybe double name don't remember can come back in that division, and again with to what we highlighted with how close they are when they play head to head. I certainly think that he can. And then I don't know how much you talked about the Cardinals or Rams because I zoned out a little bit right there, but
I didn't really bring them up. I was actually looking this up. San Francisco. If the season ended today, San Francisco would be in the playoffs as the 7th seed in the NFC.
There you go.
The Cardinals, no disrespect to Fig, man. I mean, you've only put up 189 points with the Cardinals. That's pretty fucking nuts to me. And you're the second best defense in your division, though. And then the Rams. I don't know, man. I know he went through and he picked his schedule and he was like, I can make a playoff run here, but then you go out and lay an absolute egg with a team whose starting quarterback is suspended. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that wasn't him. He was 0-5 or 0-4, what the fuck ever, when he took over the team.
Oh yeah.
But nah, it's too late. I think that one to the Broncos that was a winnable game. With Russell Wilson out, and it should have been a winnable game. You go out, and you throw 6 picks, you fucking you lay an absolute egg, and I'd stick a fork in the Rams. They're done. I think the Cardinals are done too. I know that's fucking hard to say because they're only a game back, but I don't see the Cardinals doing much either. They can't score points.
I mean,
they're scoring 30 more than the Patriots. I mean, that's the 189. That's got to be one of the worst, right? And
yeah, it's pretty low. I'm just saying, if they had won last week, they'd be tied with the Niners.
It's true.
I see where your logic is going. It blows my mind a little bit that Double Name Don't Remember has given up so many points with the Niners. That's a lot. Again, could be whatever the hell, forced losses, whatever. There could be weird magic going on to cause that. But either way, I think we're both calling the Seahawks for that division, right? I know you made a huge stand for how Double can get in there and win that division.
I'm gonna call the Seahawks, but I think it's gonna be very close. And if he stumbles a little bit too much, a couple of games, man, I could see it going the other way for him.
And that's fair.
And I think the beginning of his schedule was really easy, and I think the back end is going to be tough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I can see that. I'll do the same. I'm calling him to win the division. Things could happen where he doesn't, but I don't think they will. Either way, I definitely think that Double will make the playoffs with that 49ers team.
Oh, yeah.
And again,
if he doesn't win the division, he's a wild card, and he's in.
Yeah, right. you got to get there, right? And then
Hmm?
anything can happen.
It's
So
all about just getting a ticket to the dance, man. You get a ticket to the
that's all it
dance, you
is,
get it, and it's about what you can do from there.
right? All right, so predictions just for the NFC generally then. It's tight
Generally,
right at the top.
I think it's between me and Darkness. I really do. I mean, I think it's between me, Darkness. I wanna believe. I wanna believe. Yeah, Darth Dad's in there too. But I still am taking you to win that division. It's a toss up, man. This is a really hard division to pick because I really feel like like on my screen what I'm looking at, like from the Vikings up, all of them have a chance. Realistically, to make the Super Bowl though, I'm gonna go between the myself, Dark, and Darth. I think those are the three. Darth just won a Super Bowl in Primer, so like I'm having a really hard time if he gets into the playoffs, saying that he can't get to the dance.
Yeah. I mean, that's the strongest argument that you could have right now, right?
Yeah.
Um, I I think it's really gonna. I think a lot of this is gonna come down to you and Noob. That game is gonna be like huge in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's gonna be a massive game. You guys are both at the top of your game right now, and that's gonna be really interesting to watch. I'm very much looking forward to that game. It's not it's not quite at the level of the game that's coming up in the AFC with the Ravens and the Jaguars. Yeah. It's just like a half a tier below that.
Mm-hmm.
Cuz like and the only reason is because like there's no undefeated record that would be at stake as well as like theoretically by tiebreaker the number one in the conference. Like it could be that by the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Darkness loses to somebody else. But I do think that'll be an epic game. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's going to tell us a lot about the NFC after that game. All right, so do we want to run through some award leaders real quick?
Yeah, we could do a little award thing, kind of how we did it last time. Run through the top 5 of them real fast and
Yeah.
kind of get a look at where we're sitting. Those usually get. I mean, it's kind of cool because we're just past the week where they get introduced, so it's really fun to look at. And then once we get near the end of the season, that's when it's like really, ooh,
Late
what's
pushes.
going on here exactly. All right, so let's take a look at the yearly awards. Right now in the MVP voting, you have Jonathan Taylor leading the way. Doesn't surprise me. He leads the league in rushing by a lot. He's got like 1,400 yards, where I think the next back behind him is at 991. I don't think this is going to change. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to end up running away with the MVP race. And honestly, he makes the Colts a really interesting team come like the M23 cycle. They're on my list. Like, I think I'm gonna have to struggle through a year of Matt Ryan and hope I get a quarterback. But like, if I could get a quarterback, ooh, buddy,
It'd be a dirty team.
Javonte Williams is right behind him at second, followed by Nick Chubb, Lamar Jackson, and Saquon. So this is the thing about Madden. Like MVP in real life's a quarterback award. In Madden, it's a fucking running back award, man. It's always the goddamn running backs that win it, dude. So like, it's kind of funny that the only quarterback that is in there is Lamar. For the entire NFL. I mean, fucking hats off.
Meme on him, he's a running back.
Yeah, hats off, nod to Josh Allen. He's right there too. He's at number 6, sitting right outside. I'm honestly surprised though he's not harder with the points Clink's putting up, or that he's not higher with the fucking points Clink's putting up.
Well, he might be. Look at this list, the next time we record the podcast.
True. It might shoot up from there.
He might be in that top 5.
Yeah, Coach of the Year, this is stupid to look at. Yeah, it's going to be the guy with the best record. Cool. So, start going down it by AFC. No surprise here. Offensive Player of the Year, Jonathan Taylor. Oh, I want to check something again. NFC. NFL. That's funny. There is one NFC player in the top 5 for the MVP. The rest is all in the AFC. So, Offensive Player of the Year, as it stands as of Week 10, Jonathan Taylor's leading the voting, followed by Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, the Jet Kareem Hunt, and Lamar Jackson. So, it's funny that Hunt is behind Jackson, in the overall for MVP. But for Offensive Player in the Year in the AFC, it's a different story where those two are flip-flopped right there.
Makes no sense.
It's just great to me, though, because, this is, here's your MVP race, right there on that screen.
Right.
Defensive Player of the Year looks like Justin Simmons for the Broncos as of right now. If it were to end a day with Patrick Queen of the Ravens, for those that say linebackers don't matter. Myles Garrett of the Browns, love to see that. Love to see D linemen. I don't think he uses them, but hey. Marcus Peters, and then Kyle Duggar of the Patriots, rounding out Defensive Player of the Year. That's crazy that there's a Patriot even on that list, but it's not his defense. I guess it's having the problems. It's the offense.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Edward McDonald for the Bills. Alex Worthy for the Chiefs in second. Alex McCullers for the Bills. Isaac Murphy for the Bills. Bills. 3 out of the top 5 for Offensive Rookie of the Year are all Buffalo Bills. That's actually pretty fucking nuts.
He's putting up a lot of points.
Yeah,
and he's apparently doing it with the rookies.
Right. Warren Nails, 67 overall, is leading right now for Defensive Rookie of the Year from the Bills, followed by Bradley Johnson of the Chiefs, Andrew Rushar of the Texans, another Bill, Danny Singleton, and Trevon Kilgore. So, these Bills rookies are just making an impact, apparently.
Yeah. A 67 overall.
That's insane, dude.
That's pretty nuts.
All right, best QB.
Who else?
Apparently, there's only 5, in the AFC, so it's Josh Allen, Zach Wilson at 2, Derek Carr, Herbert, and Hawley. I think there's something glitched right now, honestly, with this award for the QB thing, because it's not showing full, and there's definitely guys that are not on this list that should be.
Right.
Best running back, Jonathan Taylor, no surprise. I'm not even going to repeat this list, because it's the same fucking list as Offensive Player of the Year, basically, just insert.
Austin Eckler's in at 5.
Yeah, insert Austin Eckler, I guess.
In place of Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill leading for offensive, or for best receiver in the AFC. That's no surprise here, dude. He's a great receiver in real life, but he's like a Madden fucking cheat code god.
Yeah.
If you have Tyreek Hill and you're not getting the ball into Tyreek Hill's hand and he's not consistently in the conversation, or just outright winning best receiver in whatever conference he's in, AFC, NFC, you're not using Tyreek Hill correctly.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. Exactly. Devontae Adams right behind him. No surprise there. Devontae Adams, me and you know this, that's another Madden god player. Just fucking amazing.
In a different way, but yes.
The rookie, though, for the Bills, Alex McCullers, right up there. That's 71 overall. Marquise Brown comes in fourth, and Stephon Diggs, who's...
We gotta watch some Bills games.
Yeah, I do. I gotta sit down and watch some
doing?
Bills games.
And Diggs is there at 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's just...
Best O-line, Quentin Nelson, obviously. Ronnie Stanley, Armstead, Sharif, Wyatt Teller.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects, right? Best D-lineman is Myles Garrett, followed by DeForest Buckner, Cameron Hayward, Malik McDowell, and Von Miller. Look, another fucking Bill. So
it never ends.
Yeah, I mean Myles Garrett though, he's in that conversation for that award every single year. Same with DeForest Buckner.
Yep.
TJ Watt's leading the AFC for best linebacker, followed by Josh Allen, Khalil Mack with the Chargers, Patrick Queen, and that guy right there, him. So
Boya said.
Sure. You butcher that. I won't be the one. I find it funny though that Patrick Queen's way higher in the defensive player of the year voting in the AFC, but he's 4th on the list for best linebacker.
Right. He's a great defensive player, but a shit linebacker.
Right. Justin Simmons for best DB. That doesn't surprise me. He's leading the conversation for defensive player in the year of the AFC right now. Marcus Peters behind him. God, they have two just really good corners in Baltimore with Humphrey and Peters, like side by side of each other. That shit's just phenomenal.
Yep.
Micah Hyde, who had like 20 something fucking interceptions last year, was the defensive player of the year, is sitting in third. Jalen Mills is in fourth, and Asante Samuel Jr. sits at fifth right now to round it out for best DB. And your best kickers are Alex the Kid Kessman, Greg Zerline, Rodrigo Blankenship, who just, God, okay, that looks like a kicker. Camille Fairbairn and Randy Bullock will round out the top five. It's a face
only a mother could love, and at that, only the mother of a kicker.
Jesus fuck. And if you want, Ian, I'll let you run through the NFC.
Yeah, let's do it. Offensive Player of the Year. Saquon Barkley is running away with that, no pun intended. But Justin Fields has a word, and he's number 2. Leonard Fournette, your boy.
LF7.
Top dog.
Oh, yeah, recently, dude, been fucking insane.
He's above Dalvin Cook. That's interesting. Who's number 4? And then Thad Anderson, the rookie sensation, is 4th in Offensive Player of the Year voting. Quarterback for the Seahawks. Defensive Player of the Year. My boy's making moves, but we'll get there. It's Nick Bosa right now. But Fletcher Cox was 6th the last time we recorded this. Because I remember I said the disrespect on his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now up to 2. So Nick Bosa is number 1. Fletcher Cox is number 2. He is the reason that I'm 6-3. People want to hate on D-line uses. You just gotta just flick a stick, one way and whatever. Well, then do that.
Well, all you have to do is sprint backwards and hold triangle. So.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
I don't complain about who people use, or I'm not that person.
Right. Well, it's because. Anyway.
Before we get too derailed.
No, I can tell. Right then and there, I'm like, we're going to talk about something else. And that something else is Sidney Jones IV, who is 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year voting for the NFC. Mike Edwards, shout out, is 4th.
He's an interesting story, too. He was my backup strong safety last season. I run a lot of big nickel. So, he comes out in that set. And I let the guy that was my starter go because he's older than shit and his speed went way down. And Mike's balled the fuck out. He leads the team in interceptions. He's got 7 or 8 picks on the year.
He's doing the Lord's work. Micah Parsons is number 5, and I can say this from personal experience. You're looking at a guy on a 1-7 team, and you're like, how is he 5th in Defensive Player of the Year? It's because Micah Parsons is fucking nuts. Also, Seals runs a lot of the zero blitzes, and Micah Parsons comes free on some of those zero blitzes. And I can just tell you how enjoyable that is.
It does not sound like it was very enjoyable at all, my friend.
So, anyways. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Should be no surprise. It's Thad Anderson. The man was 5th in Offensive Player of the Year, and he is a rookie. So, he deserves it. Levi Pippins of the one... That's the greatest name ever. Levi Pippins. I fucking love that name. He's 2nd on the 1-8 CPU controlled Lions team. Andrew Willis is I don't know what, but he's 3rd for the Seahawks. I say I don't know what because I don't remember that name from the last time we recorded this.
Neither do I.
But he's 3rd for the Seahawks, so he's coming up with rookie quarterback Thad Anderson. Kyrie Burrows of the 3-6 Saints is 4th, and then Earl Aldridge, who I also got the pleasure of meeting in that game. He's a tight end for the Cowboys, and he's fucking sneaky. And eventually I figured out a way to shut him down, but I was not expecting him. My man came out in 3 tight end, 1 wide set, and absolutely murdered me for 30 fucking yards. Earl Aldridge is not a tight end. He's just he's a wide receiver disguised as a tight end. But we'll not talk about that. So, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm sure we've got a gentleman that you'd like to talk about, Nathan Ware.
Nathan Ware, man, this is a guy who's a defensive lineman that he's fast. He can run. He's got like 88 speed. So I converted him to outside linebacker. I stood him up, and he's one of my edge rushers, man. And he's been getting after people. He's been doing great. The sacks are way more spread around because I'm not just using Vea this year. I've been using Ware. I've been using Vea. I've been using Barrett. I drop Ware. I like to drop him back into coverage every once in a while. Because, like, people get so used to me sending and going and going and going and going. And every once in a while, like, I'm going to go play this flat now. Like,
No,
and it's
no,
been
but
fucking
hold
some
on.
people up.
Like, from what I've been told, you're a D-line user, which means that you only understand, like, rock paintings in caves. Like, you're not civilized enough to drop someone into coverage.
Oh, God, man. There's a lot more to it, and there's a lot more that runs through my brain, man, when I fucking... Because I'm making all sorts of fucking checks and moves, dude. I'm shifting my line. I'm having them shoot certain directions, you know, setting contains. There's things and changes, and there's a thought process behind what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And you also see it's why I have one of the better run defenses in the league, too, is because I shut people down from the line of fucking scrimmage. But once again, man, we could talk about the nuances.
This just in, D-line users actually do fucking think.
Sometimes. Just a little
Hot
bit,
take.
I promise.
Number 2 is Darren Buchanan. On the one, I love that the 1-8 Lions have back-to-back defensive rookie of the year candidates with Darren Buchanan and Delvin Tatum. No one's ever gonna know who these people are or what they're doing. They're doing great things in Detroit, apparently. The game tells us that. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're doing, but good for them. Carl Simpson is 4th. Again, I just played Seals. I don't remember that name, but I'm sure I should. And then Addison Jackson for the Saints is 5th. Best QB, well, he's like 2nd in Offensive Player of the Year voting, so it shouldn't be any surprise that Justin Fields, Darkness the Bears, is number 1 for Best QB. Aaron Rodgers is 2nd. Jameis Winston is 3rd. Jared Goff is 4th. Gotta love it. And Jalen Hurts has finally climbed like that.
So this bugs the shit out of me because
he doesn't belong there.
Tom Brady's not on this list, and I guarantee you he has better stats than Hurts, Goff, Winston. Easy.
No, you're missing but he doesn't have more rushing touchdowns than Hurts.
Jesus, get the fuck out of here.
No, listen, it's. I say this as the person that uses the Eagles. The fact that Jalen Hurts is 5th on this list and Tom Brady's not even represented is a joke. Tom Brady notwithstanding, the fact that Jalen Hurts is 5th on this list is a joke. He's fucking trash. But that's neither here nor there. Best running back, Saquon Barkley. No one's of course. Leonard Fournette is number 2, and Dalvin Cook is number 3. 2 weeks ago, that was flip-flopped. 2 weeks later, Fournette's just a better running back.
Well, that's because Fournette's, dude, his past 4 or 5 games have been absolutely fucking nutty, man.
He's setting the world on fire.
Mm-hmm. He's it's he's going for 150. He had one where he went for 220 something.
Yeah.
Fucking just, 2 touchdown game, 3 touchdown game, 4 touchdown game, another 3 touchdown game. The man's just on fire, dude. Honestly, Brady's pass numbers have dropped the last few weeks because I've just been fucking hammering people with Fournette.
Yeah. It's why Brady's not even in the conversation for
It's
it's your fault. No one
go.
else. Jalen Hurts a better quarterback than Tom Brady, confirmed.
7th in
Elijah Mitchell is number 4
passing yards,
in
4th
best
in
running
touchdowns.
back. And then Cam Akers is number 5 in best running back. Best wide receiver. Holy shit. There's no way, right?
Sure.
I don't want to utter this sentence.
Go for it.
Rico Gafford.
73 overall Rico Gafford.
73 overall Rico Gafford is the best wide receiver in the NFC. Yeah. Jonesy, good on you. Whatever you put in the water in Green Bay, and it'd be easy. It's a small town. You could put whatever you wanted in that water, and they'd all drink it. Whatever you put in that water has Rico Gafford as the best wide receiver in the NFC. Good on you. DK Metcalf, has to be fucking lucky. I've seen that man when he's mad. He's got to be furious that he's number 2.
Right.
Mike Evans is number 3. Darnell Mooney, and TJ Shark Jr. 2 Bears round out the top
We'll
5.
say Russell Gage sitting at 6, man. I got another one right outside the top 5, and he balls out for me.
Yeah, well, so does Levi Pippins, who's at 7 and has a much better name than Russell Gage is a good name. Levi Pippins is a better name.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Best offensive line, Tristan Wirfs, of course. Jesus, that guy can fucking play football. You have 2 people in the top 3, but they're split by Lane Johnson. The one good thing I have on my offensive line is Lane Johnson, and that man shows up every game. You know, when I look at plays and I'm like, why did that break down on the offensive line? It's basically never his fault. So, like, that's a good thing.
It is not you, and this is why you're second in the voting for this award.
Right. You're allowed to stay. Why? Because it's never your fault.
I do love, though, that, like, because Tristan Wirfs is an amazing offensive tackle. That is also the same offensive lineman that Khalil Mack hip-tossed. That first year in Chicago when they played the Bucs. Yeah, that's who Khalil Mack hip-tossed, was Tristan Wirfs.
And look where he's come.
Right? Oh, yeah. No, for real, dude. For real. He's an amazing offensive lineman.
He learned from that moment.
He did. But
he stood up from that play and said, "Never again."
Again, yeah, basically, like, I just got embarrassed on national television.
Right. Not ever again.
By Khalil Mack. It could have been worse. It could have been some no name who did it to him. You know what I mean?
True. Bakhtiari is 4th. You'd expect to see his name pretty high up on the list.
Shaq Mason was a Buck. I had to trade him. Due to cap reasons.
Well, look at you now. You could have 3 of the top 5.
Yeah, we swapped guards and picks.
Fucking idiot. Best D-line, Nick Bosa is still got the edge over Fletcher Cox. That's Defensive Player of the Year too, isn't it? Yeah, it's Bosa and Cox. Well, what can I say? I'm going to write that wrong by the end of the season, but for right now, Nick Bosa's number 1 and Fletcher Cox is number 2. Cameron Jordan would like to have a word. He's number 3 for defensive line. Yannick Ngakoue is number 4, and then Melvin Ingram. So the Bears have 2 top 5 representatives for best defensive line. They're doing something right. Best linebacker, Micah Parsons. Like, normally, I'd say, like, this is a guy on a 1-7 team. Why is he the best at his position? But Micah Parsons is literally insane. Like, he's kept games close. Micah Parsons deserves to be there. Like, he might be the best linebacker that Madden has ever seen.
Yeah, dude's a fucking monster. Like, just insane.
He can do everything and so well. Hassan Reddick actually is number 2 on this list. He's showed up more later in the season. He's done a lot of, I'll say this, he's done a lot of dirty work for me, like shutting down runs to the outside because he's an edge rusher for me. Well, and also, it's weird that it makes him the best linebacker because he definitely plays defensive end for me. But whatever. He's on the edge. And was never, like, Hassan Reddick was never an edge guy. So when I took over this team, I was like, really? But no, he's got, like, decent, he's not, like, world-breaking stats. But he seals the edge against the run. And also, when you're like, oh shit, Fletcher Cox is up in my balls, I'm going to run away. Hassan Reddick is like, you fucking thought. And just stops you from running away. So, didn't think he had the stats to be number 2 in best linebacker, but there he is. And I do think he's earned it now that I see that he's there. Travis Gibson is number 3. Leonard Floyd is number 4. And then Nathan Ware, there he is again, number 5. That is your Defensive Rookie of the Year leader. And
sneaking his way up in that conversation.
Best linebacker. Might just be. Best defensive back, no surprise that it would be Sidney Jones the 4th because he was higher in the Defensive Player of the Year. But Mike Edwards is there as well. It's a conversation to be had. J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson, 2 cornerbacks on defensive backs at least, on a 1-8 Panthers team are your 3-4. Interesting. And then Sean Murphy Bunting, my Eagles. You traded him to me.
Yep.
Um,
He also,
he.
I traded him to you for the pick that ended up being Nathan Ware.
There you go. Well, turnabout's fair play, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Sean Murphy Bunting has been great for me. Like
Mm.
he has had such ridiculously clutch interceptions. Like I swear I only call his name when it's like a game changing interception, and it hasn't happened a ton. I'd have to look at his stats. It's not like every game, but dude, when he shows up, he shows up. So
Yeah.
he's earned that 5 spot. And again, best kickers. Oh fuck this shit. Jake Elliott lost it to Tucker McCann. Elliott's not in first anymore. The one thing I was definitely gonna win. Fuck. Well, Tucker McCann apparently is pretty good at kicking the ball, and then Jake Elliott's better, but the game doesn't know that. And Cairo Santos is number 3. Joey Slay's number 4. Riley Patterson's number 5. Nobody cares about kickers. If you have a great kicker, good for you. Nobody cares. Yeah, and that's awards.
Well, I mean, it's been an interesting season thus far, man, and it's been an interesting season and a half. You know what I mean? And this half season's been really great. I'm excited for this league and where it's gonna go, like long haul into M23. It started really, really late in the cycle. It's crazy to see the response it's got, how active everyone is in here, and like people actually putting in the time to make content, like we have tonight and like others have, with the trash talk show that, Freight Train does, with, the other podcast that, Bomber and, those guys did. Like, it's cool to see the amount, all the Twitter accounts, like what's actually going on in this league compared to a lot of your, run-of-the-mill bullshit leagues.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like it's the community involvement that really does put this league above most of the random sim leagues that you're gonna run across, right? Um, Probably almost all of the random ones you're gonna run into. But I mean, every league's a random league until you're a part of it. But like either way, like it's definitely been like an awesome time and experience to be here and know that you're in a league where it's more than just log on, play your game, and then you're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a community around it that's always active. People are always chatting, and there's always things that are going on. And like to your point, this specific kind of content that's being made, because we're not the only ones that are making a podcast for this league. So it's awesome to be a part of that and to, I hope, bring something a little fresh or a little different than what people have done, at least for this league. And I definitely, like, I know that we're going to keep doing it unless everyone is like, fuck you, we hate this.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
I
guys
hope that's not
suck.
the case. I hope that's not the case. I don't think it will be. But again, I'll circle back to, that's why I talked about feedback. Let us know what you liked about this episode, what you didn't like. Like the first episode is always hard to wrangle in terms of like making it short, just because it's finding a rhythm, and also frankly, if we felt a little off, this is literally the third fucking time
We've recorded this. Exactly.
We're a little over the pilot episode
We're
at
a
this
little
point, but seriously, thank you guys for hanging around. Let us know what you thought. Seriously. That's all I'm ever going to ask for at the end of every one of these episodes, is let us know what you guys thought about the episode, because we are doing this for you. We enjoy talking about this league as friends, and so we want to just like share our thoughts and opinions on it for the rest of the league. And if you guys like whatever feedback you have, we need that. So please do let us know. But otherwise, I sincerely look forward to making at least a few more episodes for the Madden 2022 cycle, and I absolutely look forward to continuing this into Madden 23, at least as far as the Shadow Realm is going into that league. So, do you have any other closing thoughts, Scott, before we sign off?
No, man, that's really it. Like, you hit the nail on the head. We enjoy the leagues, we enjoy the people, we hope you enjoy the content that, we've tried to make. Like I said, if we sounded a little off, this is the third time recording this one, and if it doesn't work, I swear to God, I'll yeet myself into fucking traffic. I said it in chat, and I'll say it here. But that being said, we
That's
should be
fair, by
fine.
the way.
Um, yeah, no, like I'm excited. I'm excited to see where the league goes, especially come Madden 23. You know, different faces, different teams, different divisions. It's gonna be interesting, and I think it's gonna be a hell of a lot of fun running with these guys from Madden to Madden and creating content and doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. That's the reason we're doing it, right? There's the reason we play the game, the reason we make this podcast. We're having fun. So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, with that being said, we hope that you guys enjoyed it. Give us the feedback. Let us know what you thought about it. Otherwise, make sure that you folks take care of yourselves. And as always, and you might not know this if this is the first time that you're watching it, but this is how I'll end every podcast. Make sure you take care of yourselves. And if you can, please do take care of someone else as well. Have a great night, morning, whenever you consume this. Have a great one.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.